The Internet of Things is not a new concept and has been around sort of conceptually for 10 to 15 years, but over the last 5 to 8 years has accelerated dramatically with the implementation of new devices such as the smartphone, such as smart fridges, such as Google Home and Alexis, as well as the improvement within internet technologies going from dial up to broadband, 3G, 4G, and subsequently 5G in the last sort of 6 to 12 months. This is moving so fast that governments and regulatory bodies are really struggling to stay ahead. And so the question of is the World Trade Organization well equipped to deal with new technologies? In regards to the Internet of Things, no. In regards to other technologies such as e-commerce and blockchain, definitely. Where there's a linear usage, such as blockchain, for example, where you can see a ledger from start to finish of a supply chain, then yes, the World Trade Organization is well adapted to use this. The Internet of Things, though, is essentially developed by private enterprises such as Apple, Samsung, Huawei, who are three of the biggest, and there's a lot more organizations out there. But because they are developing it and they know how these systems work, there's a few issues that are raised as to why the World Trade Organization is not able to be adapted to this. The first is a lack of understanding. So as I said, these organizations are the ones who know how this technology works. Outside of those organizations, there's very little understanding of the full scope of what the Internet of Things will truly be able to do. This is shown through a company like Huawei, where it was found, because they're linked to the Chinese government, that a lot of the technology has backdoors built in. And this raises the second issue, privacy. This day and age, data is so valuable on the black market. There was a presentation I was attending recently where it showed the price to buy a driver's license, which is as little as $20 on the black market. People are taking this information and using it, selling it, and making a profit. There's a converse relationship between the likes of organised crime and hacking at any particular time. The issue of privacy is something that is so important to everyone. And not that long ago, people were worried about internet banking. And now we're saying all of our devices are interconnected, data's being collected by these companies, and realistically, who knows what's being done with it. In terms of the World Trade Organization, you have businesses speaking to each other, the business, the consumer. Everyone is now in this interlinked web, which leads to so many issues that haven't really been thought about. Yes, countries have privacy acts, but because it's now on a global scale, to actually prosecute is incredibly difficult. And to use precedent is not necessarily from a particular country. So Australia, for example, has very little precedent when it comes to this side of things. There's been a few cases in the US and a few cases in Europe, but very little has been thought out of the legal side away from university literature. Ultimately, the World Trade Organization is not equipped to deal with the Internet of Things. Or I shouldn't say not equipped, but rather not ready to deal with the Internet of Things. And they really need to develop partnerships with the organizations that are developing this to stay ahead and be proactive in making sure that this is something that's able to be used in the long term, because it is very valuable and will allow organizations and countries to progress incredibly quickly.